Well, hello my little beauties. Thank you for your responses to my previous video, the one in which I was offering an alternative opinion, let's say, to the Agile dogma that is out there. I really appreciate the feedback, and I wanted to do a super quick response, if I may, to one comment in particular that came in. And the comment went some... I'm not going to read it or anything because I don't want to, but the comment went something like this. Having used waterfall for a substantial amount of time, Agile did turn out to be helpful. And the user said that he had used waterfall for 2 years and had all sorts of, F-ups was the phrase. So the user says that he'd used waterfall for 2 years. Then the user said that I am mistaken, or suggested that I was somehow mistaken about the difference between Scrum and Agile. Then the user asked if I had read the Agile methodology. Pardon me, this is future DC. He asked if I had read the Agile manifesto. Let me get that right. I thought that this was worthy of a response because it was quite possibly the nearest thing to a pro-Agile response that I've had. And it's funny, when I posted that video, I thought they're going to come after me. I'm going to have Agile people coming through the door and everything. And where are the Agile people? They're nowhere to be seen. Somebody said, you're really offending a lot of people here, And I said, well, you know what? They can drag my name through the mud. They can try and hack my websites or anything. They can label me as some kind of a nutcase. Just about the only thing that they won't do is debate me. You'll never see Uncle Bob show up here. Where is he? Where are all of the Agile characters? I'm waiting. Been waiting quite a while, actually. Anyway, that was the nearest thing that I had to some... overwhelmingly everybody seems to be agreeing with me here. So I wanted to just respond to that one very quickly. We won't make this a long video. It doesn't need a lengthy response. So the first thing I want to say is thank you for the comment. Even though I don't agree with the perspective, I appreciate the comment, and there's no such thing as a bad comment. Apologies for my phone making funny noises. But here's what I would say to address the key points that were raised. First of all, and respectfully, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you spent 2 years using the waterfall methodology. That's because I don't believe that the waterfall methodology exists. To reiterate a point that I made in the other video, and I know it was a long video, but I said, developers or software engineers who have a methodology that involves going from one point to another in a crystallized, clearly defined manner, with no flexibility, hardly any client communication, and then documentation at the end of the process. Those developers have a very special term, let's say it again, unemployed. Nobody works like that. Nobody ever has worked like that. They made this up out of thin air. And by the way, we know the names, right? We can say, for example, who was there. We know the hotel where they met in Colorado. It's all dated and time-stamped. We know the book that they stole the material from. I've already given you the name. They stole material from the Toyota Way. The author's Jeffrey Liker. There's debate about whether or not it was translated from Japanese. I don't know. I'm going to bring that book on and we'll do a side-by-side comparison. We'll do a real in-depth book review because I really want to lift the lid on this. And the point of the matter is, to anyone out there who's saying that there is such a thing as waterfall, I'm saying that there's not. There is not by name, nor is there by some methodology that somebody has defined. And if I'm wrong, show me the waterfall conference I'd like to attend. Or how about the waterfall podcast? Where's that? In fact, The next time you see somebody talking about waterfall, ask them, what's your top 3 books on the subject of waterfall? Now, they might come out with, back in 1952, Johnny Shankwankle wrote Principles of Software Management or something. I'm not counting that. I'm not counting some generic, vaguely defined thing. I'm making the point. And by the way, there's so many points, right? They stole material. They have absolutely obliterated the salaries of developers. They don't get stuff done. It's all jobs for middle management. And did I mention they stole material from Toyota? All of that stuff is perfectly valid. But the fundamental premise that I'm bringing to you today is that the whole Agile movement was founded on a pack of lies. They literally invented a problem out of thin air and they called it waterfall. I'm the guy who's lifting the lid on all of that because I am saying to you, sir, that there is no such thing as waterfall. I mean, the waterfall methodology. What a terrible name, by the way. That does not exist. It never has. And don't think that you can impress me by telling me that you worked for somebody in the 60s or that you were there during the moon landing or whatever. I'm not buying any of it. There is no such thing as waterfall. Now, I am being fair in my criticism here. I'm not like some lawyer just presenting one side of the argument. I said in my last video, and I'll say it again, I give the Agile community one little bit of credit. And the credit is that the Agile community addressed a very specific problem that was created by academia. Academia, the universities, have absolutely failed to keep up with the IT industry. And they have produced wave after wave of incompetent morons who sit there with headphones on, listening to Spotify and looking at a command line interface and charging 75 grand a year for the privilege. That's the university system that produced that. But when you see those people, it may look like something that you would call waterfall. I'm here to tell you that's not waterfall. That's just rubbish employees. So there is no waterfall. It never did exist. They made it all up. That's the news flash. Now, regarding the other points, something about you are mistaking Scrum with Agile, or that's not real Agile, something of that nature. We've seen this type of thing before. Do you remember a few years ago when the self-help movement exploded and books like The Secret were top of the bestsellers list and Think and Grow Rich? Remember? I was right there. I was listening to Tony Robbins and everything. And do you remember how they were all talking about NLP? Let's all do the obligatory thing where we all say what it stands for. Go on, it'll make you feel intelligent. We'll all say it together. Neuro-linguistic programming. Ooh, yeah. And I remember about 10 years ago, there was an explosion of life coaches everywhere. They were in the neighbourhood. They were advertising in cafes and everything. And they were all using NLP. Oh, sounds so good. And do you remember what they used to do, all of those life coaches? They used to argue among themselves about you're not doing it right. That was all they had. That was all they had. And I actually met one or two of them and I'd say, oh, NLP, that's that kind of thing, make believe. And say, oh, no, that's not NLP. That's not real NLP. My friends, that line of argument really is the hallmark of somebody who has no skills. And if you think that I'm going to become embroiled in some henhouse shit about that's not real NLP or that's not Scrum or whatever, then unfortunately, you're mistaking me for somebody who gives a rat's ass. The whole thing is middle management garbage. I employed somebody from 2007 to 2012. Her job was to pretend to be me and apply for jobs pretending to be me, right? And that was her job, man. I'd go to the job interview and do the interview, and at the end, when they say, if you get any questions, I'd say, why are you employing somebody? Instead of having a desk over there with all of these liabilities, you could have a nice plant or maybe a scented candle, and maybe I can do your site in 3 months' time and save you 50 grand. That's how I did business for a long, long time. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because I have a database somewhere, I'm sure it's still out there, of all of the job adverts going back 2008 all the way up to 2012, because part of her job is she'd look at adverts and she'd flag adverts that she liked. And I'm telling you folks that in 2012, now I haven't looked at the job market seriously for maybe about 8 months, but the last time I looked, PHP developers were being paid more then than they are now. Now, why is that? I'll tell you why. It's because of the Agile crowd. It's because of them. This middle management garbage must be challenged. As for the Agile Manifesto, I did look at it a few years ago, and I was very unimpressed. I would like to go into it in more detail and bring on perhaps the book that they stole their material from, and we can do a side-by-side comparison. I am the guy who called out Agile, and I'm so darn proud. As for you, it would appear that you agree. Last video I made a promise about 50 minutes in. I said, if this video gets 50 thumbs ups in 30 days, I said I will do another video where I'm going to name and shame the most incompetent CEO that I've ever dealt with. Well, I've just looked at the video. It's only been up a few days and we've got 92 thumbs ups. 92. We've smashed the target out of the water. Thank you. So you have spoken, and now I shall deliver. So looks like I have a video coming up, and it's going to be quite nuclear. If you think this Agile stuff nuclear, wait till you see what I've got coming up, folks. And wait until you see the organisation that this person's the CEO of. This is one of the most credible organisations, arguably, in Europe. I say that with a straight face. And I am going to be naming and shaming this guy. Beautiful human being he is. For any lawyers watching, this is educational material. I will never offer a criticism without offering a solution. So I'll try my best to be professional, but that is coming up, and I think it's going to be absolutely electrifying. If you enjoy this type of content, independent, thoughtful, original, a little bit controversial, maybe with a little giggle from time to time. Don't you have a little giggle from time to time? You enjoy this type of content? Give me the thumbs up, give me the like, and add words like love and peace and whatever other bullshit the algo's pushing these days. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.